Welcome to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe. I'm a sales and marketing coach and strategist for health coaches, life coaches, and wellness professionals who want to become a leader in their field by building their online community, rocking their sales process, and finally feeling confident about how they promote themselves and their marketing. On this show, we talk about tips to grow your business, save yourself time, and finally be able to create a sustainable, profitable business. Let's get into it. Today's episode is brought to you by the Zero to Hero Coach Inner Circle. This is my 6-month, hands-on, customizable coaching program where I'm taking you through how to book clients consistently, how to market and sell your offers with confidence, and how to structure your business. So your offer, your niche, your pricing, your social media strategy plan, your local marketing strategy plan. These are the kinds of things that we work on so that you can create more financial and time freedom in your life with a business that you love. And it is available with some open spots. So if you want to join us, come to HaileyRowe.com, book your free strategy consult, and we can talk more about how it works and if it's a good fit for you. Let's get started with the show. Hey everybody, today I am here with Lorna, and she is going to tell you a little bit about herself in just a second, but we're going to talk about money mindset, how to build your wealth, how to keep your wealth. And Lorna, thanks for coming today. Why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Lorna Poole, and I help women master their money so they can achieve their dreams of financial freedom, so that you can live life on your terms, learn how to put your money to work, and be great with money.
Awesome. Yeah. So one of the things that I hear a lot from new business owners and coaches who want to invest in their business is this fear of like, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to follow through. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm going to get a return on investment. So how does somebody start to expand their mindset about money and charging for their services and things like that?
Great question. Changing your relationship with money all starts with identifying what's going on in the background. Okay. In my signature program, Financial Freedom Academy, one of the exercises that we get our clients to do is it's an exercise that digs down to what are the 3 biggest beliefs, the behaviors, and the patterns you have around money. And it's really, really important to know what's holding you back so that you know how to shift it. Okay, so first of all, you need to know what's going on, and all of us have something around money. What I have found. A new level, new devil. There's another bit to the relationship with money. So that's really key, is identifying your 3 beliefs, your behaviors, and your patterns around money. Yeah. And when you know that, then, well, how do you shift it? Okay. So what's really great to do is, first of all, creating a statement around what you want instead. Okay. And when you do that, what that does, it brings up a couple of things. First of all, it brings up, usually when somebody's changing their life, we have what we want and we have where we are, right? And what happens is it brings up inner conflict. So we got to clear it. We got to cleanse it. So when you're repeating this, your new self, what happens is it brings up your crap, right? And you're taking actions towards increasing your prices in your business. And when you do that, your stuff comes up, right? So you got to clear that. And also is developing the ability within yourself of showing up every day, operating like, for example, I teach people around wealth and financial freedom. How does a wealthy person take care of their money? How does a wealthy person think about money? Like, wealthy people are comfortable with money. They like talking about it. They're happy to circulate money. They feel good around money. They feel secure about investing money. So it's really like you know this, Hailey, changing your relationship with anything is all about becoming more. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm taking notes. So if I'm looking down, this is for the show notes. So, and you're giving some gold. So I'm taking some notes. So when it comes to, let's say somebody has a belief around money that they don't deserve to earn a lot of it, or maybe they're not good enough to receive a lot of it. Or what if they charge a client and they feel like they overcharged or something if it doesn't go as well as they want or something like that. So let's talk about that specific one first. And what would you say? What kind of coaching would you give around that?
Okay, great question. So if somebody has, a thing around charging more, not feeling good enough, or like a lot of money is tied up with self-worth. Okay. So that is your identity, your self-image. So how do you shift that? I'll share from love life situation. I'll bring it back to money. I used to struggle with men, and I used to create this little kind of like this, a little note card like this, and I would put down the 5 qualities of a quality woman in relationships, right? And it's the same with money. What is the 5 qualities that, like, if somebody who was really comfortable with charging, what's their thinking? What's their feelings? How are they showing up? So, give yourself like 5 little, it's safe for me to charge. I feel worthy charging a higher rate, and getting yourself comfortable with that. So I used to repeat this every time, like say you go on a sales call and you're like really uncomfortable about asking for this new price. Repeating this before the call, I found really, really helpful. If you repeat something often enough, your mind can't tell whether it's a lie or whether it's the truth. And changing your life all comes down to what's going on in the subconscious. And until the shift happens internally in the subconscious, nothing changes. So you got to ingrain this new way of being. So a lot of changing your life is to do with doing things that scare you and acting anyway. And then coming back to the mindset around money, like digging, like what's going on here, like actually sitting down and asking yourself, what am I believing about me and money? Is this helping me reach my goal? No. What would I like to believe instead? What actions can I take towards this? And it's always a bit of a go between where you want to go and where you are, and it's a cleansing but also moving forward. And in time, what used to feel very unnatural and uncomfortable to you becomes your new natural state. So like I remember the time when I was charging $1,500 for a program, and I was like, and I was breaking up my packages and all that. I really had to work on my self-worth and my beliefs around money. Like I've literally made all the mistakes. And I've also shifted that, and I charge a hell of a lot more for my programs now. And I do that comfortably with ease because I've shifted how I feel and think about myself and what's possible for me. And when you do that, your clients up level with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what about people who say, well, I can't control how many clients I end up getting, so I can't control how much money I'm going to make. So it's really not up to me. This is just, if I set a money goal, I feel like I'm just kind of hoping I get there. What would you say to that?
Great question. I would say to that, when you get really good at this stuff, it's no longer hope, it's intentional, right? So if you have a goal, say 10K month or something like that, and you've never hit it before, and you really have mindset set stuff around this. Remind me your question, because I was getting to a point.
Yeah, I was saying, like, what if they say it's out of my control? Like I can't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Well, I would ask yourself, how true is that belief? You got to work on the belief, because changing your life is all about becoming more. There's a really great quote by Jim Rohn. And I used to have it up on my wall, but I don't know where it is right now. in order to have more, I got to become more, right? Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. When you do the internal work, like to some people 10K is small, to other people 10K is like, whoa, a lot of money. And, you know, as someone who teaches people around wealth and financial freedom and investing and those kind of things, you know, I always say on our calls, like, does 750,000 seem big or small to you? So you want to make these numbers small because they're all relative. Like, so how do you make the number small is a good question, right? Honestly, sitting down every day. One of the things that have absolutely changed my life personally is I do mindset work daily. First thing in the morning before I do anything else. It's literally 10 minutes a day. And when I have I don't know, there's a really great coach. It's called the Life School. Anyway, she created this, it's called the thought model, right? And what you do is you write out your circumstances, your thought, your feelings, your actions, and your results. And you write the negative.
I do this.
You know it? And you write the positive. It's really, really effective. But when you're doing it every day, it feels like nothing's happening. And I recommend a really good book around that. The Slight Edge is really fabulous around that, because you probably know this, Hailey. It's the mundane activities you do every day that actually moves you forward, and it feels like nothing's happening. So you do your daily mindset work. So if you think, oh, making 50K or 10K is out of my reach, well, let's look at that. What's going on there for you? Let's look at your identity around money. Let's look at your beliefs, your behaviors, and your action. You know, your beliefs, your behaviors, and your patterns. And it's always about breaking them and giving you the new.
Yeah. And so what I'm hearing is like, focus on what you can make your goal inevitable by how you're showing up, the process you're committed to, by not giving up, by continuing to expand your beliefs, by tweaking your actions as many times as it takes. Like, you are in control of a lot of that stuff. There's maybe a small amount of, you know, you can't control somebody else's beliefs about money if they're on a sales call with you. I mean, you could coach or whatever, but, you know, there's most of it is in your control. And I think the other thing that I wanted to ask you is like, shifting to a little bit about investing in yourself and investments in your business. So how do you judge, Lorna, a good investment? Like, what's your criteria for, oh, this might be a good investment in my business or for myself?
Are you talking about like working with mentors or up-leveling your business?
Working with mentors in your business, purchasing something in your business.
Okay, I have one thing to say around that, and that is you are your. So one of the things I teach is a lot of coaches, right? We're focusing on income, but creating wealth, financial freedom is putting your money to work, and you want to be paying your assets first. That's what creates financial freedom, investing your money. But one of the biggest investments is you are your biggest asset, right? It's your knowledge, your experience, your ability, your courage, your self-esteem. All that stuff is ultimately what gets you there. So, you know what? When I'm picking a mentor or something new to add to my business, I do it intuitively, totally from intuition. But I had to develop that. You know, I didn't always trust myself in the beginning. But the more, you probably know this, Hailey, as well, the more you're aligned with who you are, your values, what's in alignment with you, the easier these decisions become. So a really great place to start if you're investing in your business, where's the gap? Like, maybe you're struggling at sales calls. Maybe your pipeline is not full. Maybe you're struggling to bring in clients. Maybe you don't have regular income. And also when it comes to platforms and things like this, as somebody who teaches people around money management and wealth and all that stuff, one of the things I teach is keep your expenses at 50%. Okay. A lot of people bring in income, right? We do coaching, we bring in our income, we increase our income, and our expenses increase. and they're still living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, so I'll give you an example from my own life. I do my master classes, webinars, whatever you want to call it, on Zoom, right? And they were like, they're up to €100 now. I know you're in dollars. But also I can run a meeting for €14, right? Which I think it's like $19, I think it is, right? And I really had a conversation with myself around this about, I'm paying this extra money for literally turning off the video, and that was it. So I changed my methodology of how I showed up in my master classes and used the meeting. Okay. So as a business owner, I keep my costs very low and my money is put to work, because what is financial freedom created from, right? Financial freedom is created from having assets pay your lifestyle, whether you work or not. You're not dependent on your husband, your parents, your employer for money. You bring in your own money. Bringing in income is a financially independent skill. And then putting your money to work secures you for your future and gives you peace of mind. So what I do is I look at what is the gap I need right now, and then that's the mentor for me. Yeah. That helps.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you say, I think a couple points I want to highlight there. Number one, I agree with you. Like, you in your brain and your developing yourself is one of the best investments you can make in your business, because it impacts how you do things, and how you do things really matters in addition to the strategy. And the other thing I want to highlight that you said was putting your money to work for you. What do you mean by that? Tell people what that means.
Absolutely. How is wealth and financial freedom created? Wealth and financial freedom. Well, let me explain what financial freedom is. Like, this word is thrown around everywhere, The best definition I've ever heard is from T. Harv Eker, and he says it's the ability to live the lifestyle you desire without having to work or rely on anyone else for money. Why are we building this great business? We want to get to a space where literally we can choose our time, choose who we hang out with, how we show up, work for fun, not because we have to, right? So putting your money to work is all about investing. Like, invest your money. Now, I'm talking about long-term wealth. I'm not talking about just sticking your money here, there, and everywhere. I'm talking about a sustainable way. So, like, how do you put your money to work, right? Deciding within your head a monthly amount that you're putting towards your financial freedom. So you'll be putting it into a platform that allows you, like, so there's tax-free accounts, there's tax deferred accounts, and then there's discretionary, right? You want to be putting your money into these accounts, and you want to be putting that money to work so that your money is compounding, it's building up, and whether you work or not, this money will secure you, and you get to decide when financial freedom is for you, right? So there's three things that affect it, right? The rate of return, the amount of money you're putting towards it, and time. Okay, so Hailey might work out her financial freedom number. So how do you work out your financial freedom number? Well, how much do I want to live off every month is a good question to ask yourself. For some people, it might be 3K. For other people, it might be 10K. Other people, it might be 50K per month. Okay. What's that financial freedom number for me? What's the amount? What's the timeline? So you can decide, look, I want to be financially free by the time I'm 45 years of age. Okay, well, what needs to happen to get there? And it's about getting that money invested in assets. What's an asset? What an asset is it basically increases in income and increases in value, and it can fund your lifestyle whether you work or not, right? So what are examples of that? Equity, property is a really good example. Like, for example, property, it can be worth more, and it can give you an income. So that's kind of an example, a kind of more obvious example of assets. Yeah. Because a lot of us as coaches, we're bringing in money, we're investing in our business, we're spending it on our business, but we're still living that paycheck to paycheck. So where you can make the transformation is, I always talk about a wealth system as well, is how you manage your money. You want to have buffers. What happens when the client asks for a refund? What happens when you have a low month? Okay, so putting in the buffers so that you always have money. You know, you might have a really strong month, you might have a lower month, you always have money. And then when you lower your expenses to 50%, you can put more money to work, you can put money to savings, and live a life you love. One of the things I always share is you can live a life you love and also build wealth. Okay, so having a category where you go travel, or you do think, a lot of us don't give ourselves permission to live as we want fully. It's not, your time is now, it's not over here.
Yeah, you have to start creating it now. You got to create your future as opposed to like hoping and waiting for your future to just happen and come to you. So one of the things I want to talk about when somebody's brand new, and I talk about this, how in the coaching industry, we're very, very blessed because we don't have overhead, meaning a ton of overhead in the beginning of our business, meaning we don't need to have a center that we're paying rent for. We can coach online. We don't need to have, insurance on our building because we don't have a building. Like there's just so much we end up actually not having to spend. But at the same time, when you're brand new, there are something called startup costs. I mean, you got to register as a business. You probably need to learn business. If you're a coach and you just got certified and you don't know what you're doing and you're brand new, it's probably going to be worth your while to learn marketing and sales. And if you want to streamline that, it's probably good to invest in that, right? And I think there's this like level of expectation, like I just need to figure it out first and then I'll invest. And I think sometimes, maybe that could be true, but I think initially you do kind of have to have patience and delay gratification and invest in yourself and in your business. And I see coaches either investing in things that maybe they don't need out of order or not investing at all. So what would you say to somebody who is like, I want to put money in my business, but I haven't made any money, so I can't put any money. And maybe in the beginning, they're not going to have that 50% for their business, meaning if they're not having cash flow in their business particularly, they can't do the 50% margin rule yet, right? So what would you say initially if somebody's thinking about, I want to invest in a mentor or a faster path to get to my goals, but I feel like I can't put any money in when I haven't made any money yet?
Okay. I was in that space for a long time. So let's share what I would say to my younger self, or the when I was there. Okay, so if you're starting off, what do I invest in with my business? Honestly, find a mentor that you know their growth, you've seen them growing, and you really like the way they go about it. You need support. I would never go now without a mentor, number one. Number two, so keep investing in yourself. You never give up. You stay persistent. Also, where am I investing my time? So you don't need all the fancy platforms, the fancy emails, any of that crap, because I spend on my money on that in the beginning. It was a waste of money. What happens when you're starting off is you getting out of your own way. Okay, you get a little bit better at it, but I mean, it always crops up. But you do develop a muscle. So the other thing is your time investing. Where are you spending your time every day? Money generating activities, right? When we start off, we go build a website, we go create a nice sales page, but we're not actually talking to people. You need to be prospecting and booking calls, right? If you focus there, the rest will come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you brought up a good point when we're talking about the initial investment. You have to ask yourself your time. What is your time worth to you? Because maybe you're not booking clients yet, but you're spending all your time trying to figure that out, having no idea how to do that, spending money on things that Lorna talked about. I can't tell you how many coaches I've talked to who are like, I'm paying for this like super fancy platform that I don't recommend until you're like 3 years into your business or your list is over 2,000 people. And I'm like, why are you buying that? Like, you don't need that yet. Or they spend $5,000 on a website, yet they don't even know their niche or like their copy well. Like and I'm just like, oh, I want to go back in time and I want to get that stuff ready. And then you can get these things. And this whole concept of minimum viable product, get yourself out there, talk to people, start making offers, start bringing in those clients. I agree with you. Super important. But I think the point,
and it's also better to go high end rather than like low membership, because you need a lot of people to make that actually fund you. So you're better off developing your skills and your ability to sell, be on a sales call, have a masterclass where people book calls, things like this. Have an ability to talk to people, build relationships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it can be as simple as asking yourself, what's my time worth to me? And what skills do I need to develop? And let me start with investing and learning those skills so that I can keep doing it on repeat. And then eventually train someone to help me do that too. Right. Yeah. That's the way I see it, at least. But I think it is scary. And you do have to get out of your own way initially, because what happens is these coaches spend their money on their certification and they have this education now and they feel like, I want to coach. But then there's like nothing left to invest in actually learning the sales and marketing skills, which is where I tend to come in, and I hear them being like, oh, I already spent money on this. So I think it is scary. You do have to get out of your own way, but you have to also trust that if you, what could be possible on the other side of those skills. And I could tell you, Lorna, for me, like my first step was a group program. And I think I more than tripled my investment that was in that program. And I learned skills that served me for years after. So when you talk about like investing your money into things that create more return over time or dividends, quote unquote, I actually think the same thing applies with coaching.
No, I teach people not dividends. I teach people to let it accumulate till you hit your financial freedom number. And also, I will say this very quickly. Look, nobody has a budget for coaching. Okay, you find the money. Okay, you find the money. The investment in yourself is worth it, because you have to stretch, you have to grow, you got to develop the skills, and when you do that, everything will work out for you, and you can start investing in actual assets at a very, very low money. You just get going in that area. Because I have clients, they're living paycheck to paycheck. They think they don't have the money. They come work with you, and then they realize they get going because you've only 3 habits around money. You're overspending, you're breaking even, or you got wealthy habits. The most important part is back to what we talked about, your relationship with money. You've got to change your habits around money, and you got to be creating wealthy habits. And absolutely, I totally agree with you, Hailey. When they come to you, it's about learning those skills so that you can bring in income.
Yeah. And I just want to first add this disclaimer to the show. Nothing we're saying qualifies as, financial advice that you should or shouldn't do, and talk to your, I don't know, whatever the disclaimer is. I'm not trying to give you financial advice. But what I can say is, when you were talking about things where you put your money and it accumulates, for me, like, just to kind of give people even an idea of where to even start about that, or what are some examples, and you can probably tell me I'm off or on, but like for me personally, here's some of the things that I know of. One would be like investing in the market. So ETFs and the S&P 500 and stuff like that in mutual funds, but there's fees with those and all that. The other thing would be CD deposits, where maybe you save your money, you put it in there for a certain amount of time, and there's a certain interest level you get to lock in. And it might be better sometimes, depending on interest rates, than just sitting in your savings account. Third thing could be, like you were saying, real estate, but that's a whole nother journey to learn. And then the other thing would be, there's probably versions of real estate, like crowdsourcing types of things, where you could invest in real estate without having to be like directly involved. There's SEP, there's retirement accounts. So there's like SEP and Roth IRA and all that kind of stuff. Is there anything else you'd say, like if somebody was listening to this and they want to start just researching certain ways to put their assets somewhere?
Investing is not about being this and being that. It's about the overall strategy. So when people who are investing or don't know how to invest, they listen to the news, or like very, very early in the year, there was a whole thing about crypto. That's not, investing is about like really getting the fundamentals in place. So what's my financial freedom number? What's my timeline? Get going with putting a regular amount out of your account into, like, you always start with your tax-free accounts and your tax deferred, which are basically your retirement account, because your money is protected in there from capital gains tax and all this kind of thing. So you always start there. And I teach a strategy that you follow, that basically one of the biggest things about investing is and also what you invest in, you want to invest in, there's 5 asset classes that are the most important to be in. They are, I'm trying to think of my head, equity, property, cash, physical gold, and what's the other one? Oh, fixed income, right? But you can do this through index trackers. You don't need to make this complicated. And what they do is, investing is a bit like building your business. You got to create a really strong foundation, and then you can go into the more complicated stuff. People make investing way more complicated than it needs to be. It's actually simple. This doesn't make people feel good. Simple when you know how. No, I remember thinking it was complicated, well, but you can simplify it. It doesn't have to be scary. You protect yourself. It's all about following the strategy. People think, war happens, the market goes down and all that, and they one of the things about investing as well is you keep your emotions out of it. You stick to the strategy, and that's it, and you keep going. So it's not about this works over this or anything like that. It's about having a good solid plan, following the plan, stick to it. And one of the things is giving the person the confidence, the knowledge, and understanding to do it themselves. That's the most important, that you know what you're doing, you know what you're picking, and it's right for you and your circumstances. Yeah.
Totally. I love that. Yeah. And one of the things, first of all, I'm loving this advice. In the Zero to Hero Coach Inner Circle, we have a financial planner who talks about, like, how do you set your goals and all that. But we don't have somebody who talks about just these certain strategies and your money mindset and the different asset classes and stuff. So we might have to talk about having you come in as a guest at some point in the Zero to Hero Coach Inner Circle. But the point I want to talk about, what you're talking about, is like, this can be something just like I think a lot of people just shut down when they hear like investing, finances, math, calculus, like,
You know what? It's confusing because there's so much stuff out there, and people telling you, oh, do this and like you need a good solid foundation. That's it.
Yeah.
There's people, I think, a bit schemy around it, and it's like, you got to stay away from that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's kind of like in business too, like staying away from just trends because they're trends and everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
It's kind of similar in finance. Like, what's your criteria? What's your goals? What's your timeline? Like, probably doesn't make sense to just jump on a bandwagon you don't understand just because everybody's doing that. So for me, the thing, and I also think leveraging your strengths, like, I know my time is probably better spent having somebody who can advise me on finance stuff so that I can make more money in my business, compared to me like sitting there and reading financial reports from companies and trying to decide which stock.
But you don't need to do that. Honestly, you don't need to do that. And a lot of people, here's the thing, no one will take care of your money better than you. Because when you outsource it, you're talking about commission and fees and all that, and that really eats at net worth. The strategy I teach is set and forget. Like,
nice.
What you're talking about is, if you do direct shares, for example, right? You have to study charts and all that kind of stuff. I don't even know how to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, no. We don't do complicated investing. We do straightforward. Yes, got to keep it straightforward. It's for everyday people. Yeah, it has to be. That's how I learned. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't have a clue to look at a chart and tell you what to invest in. So it's about educating you what wealth is and what financial freedom is and how to go about it and how you put in a concrete foundation. Yeah.
Love it. That's awesome. So thank you so much for coming today. And where can everybody find you and connect with you?
Thank you, Hailey, for having me, by the way. This has been amazing, and you are just a pure light, and thank you. It's a real compliment. You can find me on Financially Independent Females, my Facebook group. I'd love to have you over there, and thank you for being here, and I hope you found this massive value.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to share that link in the chat after this video, and we'll put it in the show notes as well when this becomes the Health Coach Nation podcast. And thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Hailey.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. And if you liked it and want to reserve your very own free sales audit, go to haileyrowe.com/strategy-call to book your very own free sales audit. On the call, we'll talk more about the common concerns you get from your ideal clients, how to overcome those concerns, how to coach through objections, how to change your mindset around sales, and improve your sales process so you can be closing and converting more clients. I can't wait to connect with you, and go to haileyrowe.com/strategy-call to take the first step. Thanks so much. Have a good day.